Hold on, they won? Hey now, boys and girls, children of all ages, what is going on? It's time for another Pucknologists takeover of After Dark here on TL10 USA. It's your boys. AJ and Jerk here. How you doing, Jerk man?
It's our fourth takeover in the last 5 weeks.
No, sir, I don't like it.
And you know what? What's even better? In a couple weeks, we're gonna have 2 more takeovers.
It's fantastic. So, welcome back to the unfiltered, unedited, uncensored, and commercial-free Sharks podcast that is the Pucknologists. This time around, we got 4 games to get into. We got the return of Joe Thornton. We got Tomas Hertl signing an extension. We are literally hours away from the trade deadline. Although, based on what's happened like in the last 3 days, who knows if it's going to be that exciting? But first,
it always is. It always is. Come on.
We'll see.
I'm going to be giving Twitter the horse eye. Don't think I'm not.
Oh, of course. and the Canucks game. But remember to subscribe, follow us on social media. If you want to help support and make sure this podcast remains commercial-free, you can always throw a little something in the Venmo tip jar at TL10 USA. Or if you're watching us live, you can use the Super Chat option. Thank you so much. Let's get into it. And, hey, if you catch the show late tonight on the YouTube because you're like, oh, son of a bitch, I thought they were going to go at 7. If you're not watching us live, add your comments to the little comment section below and give the video a thumbs up if you would. We appreciate it. Okay, let's go. The Sharks won a game.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Huge if true. So...
It is true, so they say.
So
people are saying. Many people
are saying this. It's amazing. So look at this. With the 4 games this week, they did go 1-2-1, but through 62 games this season, Sharks Hockey 500, 27-27-8, 62 points, 7th in the division, 12 points out of the division, 10 points out of the wild card. It was 9 in both last week, but look, they're my predictions were not great. 2-4.
Good.
I went 2 for 4 this week. You're right, but you know what? Through 62 games, which is at their at, I had them down for 62 points. And look at that. They have 62 points.
Amazing.
Dude, I'm on fire. Taco Cruiser. Well, that seems like an appropriate handle since there was tacos today. How will the Sharks rebuild with all these long-term contracts? Their strategy does not make sense. Well, Jerk, you've been talking about this for 3 weeks now. Go ahead.
The Sharks have missed the playoffs, and they're set up to miss the playoffs for the 3rd year in a row. And in that 3-year stretch, they have made moves in order to accumulate more draft picks than are allotted to them by the NHL, whether it's acting as a broker, trading pending unrestricted free agents, The Sharks are already rebuilding literally by definition. You say, oh, the Sharks need to accumulate picks. Lucky for you, they have.
True that.
I mean, 2nd and 3rd for Brendan Dillon a couple years ago. They get the 4th for brokering the Nick Foligno deal last year. They get, I believe, a 5th or a 6th, one of those, for brokering the Matthias Janmark deal last year. So they're doing things,
I mean, they're no Seattle Kraken when it comes to picks.
Yeah, but,
Dude.
The difference is, Seattle needs to build their future. The Sharks already kind of have one.
Yeah, no, but you get what I'm getting at, dude.
Oh,
sure.
Like
30 picks in the next 3. I mean, somebody put the meme together that's got...
Y'all got any more of them draft picks?
That's right, baby. So, usually we get into the entire week, but this is a takeover, so we start with the Arizona game.
There have been so many takeovers in the last month, I think they get it.
Yeah.
At least they should.
Yeah, they're like, yes, we know.
We've been there, done that, got the shirt.
Yeah. So, second meeting this season between the Desert Dogs, and I think that's probably the final time we need to use that phrase, you think?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, dude, they brought out a bell for Pete's sakes. But anyway, second meeting of the season between Arizona and San Jose. We all know what happened. That James Reimer comes back. Leonard, how do you get scratched twice in a row after just getting called up? Anywho, the power play. Again, missing in action. It's gone again. Went 0 for 3. And then they allowed a goal on the power play to Arizona. I got to tell you right now, dude, I thought the strategy in this game after watching the first 2 periods was kind of like, okay, the game plan for both teams was clearly to bore the hell out of each other.
Oh, dude. It's funny that you say that because so the first meeting with Arizona this year, it was the 8-7
the you get a goal, everybody
Gong
gets
show.
a goal. Yeah, the Oprah game.
I was at that game, and it was as I said, probably one of the dumbest games I've ever watched, ever been to in my life. And then I watched tonight's game, and I'm like, complete opposite of the last game, still dumb. Like, the Sharks should not be in a 1-1 chess match with this team.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Oh, my word. So, a couple things to note here. I mean, Gregor had it, nice, decent game, dude. I mean, he's got a no-look pass to
Game-winning
Cogliano.
goal.
Yeah, he gets a goal.
Game-winning high-value goal. How are you?
Module.
Module modifier. There it is.
I know that Bonino got credit. I still think that should have been Cogliano's, but
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on that.
yeah, Kessel would tie it after Magna forgot how to hockey. What the fuck he was
Dude,
up
that
to.
was so bad.
Dude, like I was just like, I'm just waiting right now. Like Bugner's going to be like, so you're going to stay here while Shimmick comes with us to Alberta.
Oh God.
Oof.
I know. I was watching that because at first I see, you see Middleton out, kind of get tied up a little bit. I'm like, well, okay, Middleton's tied up. What can he do there? Maybe his D partner bails him out, and then it's like cut to his D partner, and he's just standing there, staring at the boards. Like, okay, all right, we got it.
Yeah, that was horrible. We know Dahlin get a puck to the face and leave immediately. No word on that as of now, but
If I had to bet money, he's probably fine.
yeah, I would say, probably a stinger or something. Maybe he has to have 1 or 2 chiclets replaced or whatever, but I don't think it's any reason why he doesn't make the trip to Alberta.
I guarantee you what happened was he's in there, and so, whether he had to get a stitch or whether the tooth cracked and they had to pull the rest of it out, whatever happened, I guarantee you by the time he could have come back in, the Sharks were already winning, and so it didn't matter.
True that. And they finally snap a 3-game losing streak, which is nice. Very nice. Very not meaningful, but very nice.
Hey, you know what? People, I'm sure we're going to see it in the chat. People will say, oh, this is the team you should beat. Why are you excited? And it's like, because they beat the team they should beat.
Yeah.
And could you imagine if they had lost?
You're right. We'd be here talking people down off the ledge, man.
That's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with being excited. It's all good.
Yeah, we'll take the win, but I understand where that comes from.
Right.
Absolutely. But Krause would give Arizona the lead, and I think everybody at that point was just kind of like, oh, here we go. It was like 5 minutes left. Here we go. And then away we went. 2 quickies from Meyer and Gregor to take it back, and then Balsers, your mans, the name we do not besmirch here.
Hey, you know what? That's the kind of guy that you want out there.
Especially if you want tacos, evidently.
Yeah, dwindling moments of the game, and he's trusted to keep it locked down, but he still has good speed, good offensive instincts to be able to be in position for the empty netter to kind of seal it. I know, the for module purposes, Balser's goal would be a low value goal, but who's to say if Arizona doesn't get that third goal, maybe changes things a little bit. Hard to say.
A little bit. Did Gregor get number 1 star?
Yeah, I thought he was buzzing. I'll be totally honest with you.
I think because they got Reimer out there skating now, so 920 stopped 23 at 25, 920. So he's throwing a puck into the crowd, so he clearly got a star. So Gregor, if he's not number one, he's number two. And Lord knows for a while it felt like he probably felt like number two, if you understand what I mean. But good on Gregor. Maybe it's finally coming around just as the E is about to go next to the Sharks' name in the standings. It comes together for Gregor, baby.
Right.
Wonder if we'll see some, I don't know, like Nieto's like, oh, you know what? Gregor's starting to buzz. Nieto, stay home. just sit out this trip. We're going to be okay.
Right.
Oh, boy. Tickets sold on this, 13,349. So it is slowly coming back.
That is, when the number came out, that did cross my mind. I know that we all carved up Jonathan Becker pretty hard about his whole, it's only COVID's fault for low attendance.
Yeah, it's all COVID's fault.
Right. But since the COVID mitigation mandates have softened at the tank, we have seen a rise in tickets sold. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think Becker was right all along, but I think what he was trying to say had more meaning than I think we originally gave credit for.
Perhaps, but yeah. I also think that it, at least for me, it came off a little bit where it's like he was blaming all attendance problems on that.
Right, and that's why I am extremely hesitant to concede anything regarding that conversation.
Mm-hmm. So, here's the other thing you got to take into account, though, for today. First, it's a Sunday matinee. You don't see that very often. It was also Youth Hockey Day. There was a shit ton of kids in there today, too.
Nice.
So...
I like that kind of stuff because it is, we say it all the time. It's for the kids, it's
kids.
The NHL, the sport, it's like 85% for the kids and for the sponsors. So, if you're going to grease one wheel, the sponsors, you got to grease the other wheel.
Well, I don't know if this is a move to keep fans there as long as possible. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is calculated or if this is like, oh shit, we forgot to do that. But sure. The Sharks waited until a minute 38 left in the game to call out the winning 50-50 raffle numbers. Like usually that shit is like done by like 4 minutes into the third,
Yeah, I did notice that.
Like when they went to that timeout with 138 left and all of a sudden I hear Danny coming in hot with and now you're 50-50. And I'm like, wow, did they wait until the end of the game?
Could you imagine if Danny is trying to announce that like as people are leaving? Because stuff happens, right? Like normally they do that announcement like during the commercial break, right? But you think about it, like you had a lot of goals and a lot of stuff going on in rapid succession. So, I imagine the production manager for the game was probably like, oh man, like, are we gonna be able to get this in here?
Or because of the first two periods of hockey, they were just asleep.
That too. I mean, I certainly was.
Yeah, that was. Ugh. So either way, the Sharks take a nice 4-2 victory over Arizona. Of course, you're going to sit there and say, yes, these are the teams you beat, and guess what? They beat them.
Yeah,
it is. We're not the worst.
Again, if the Sharks had lost to a team they should beat, like, how's everybody going to be feeling, right?
Oh, talk them off the ledge.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into the rest of this week. Look, it all started. Well, hold on. When did? Oh yeah, I got it. I'm sorry. So look, what do we get from this week's game? We found out versus Florida, the Sharks can't hold a lead. At LA, they come out flat, can't score. They get into penalty trouble. Versus Colorado, they come out flat yet again, can't score, and the power play blows.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arizona, aside from scoring versus Arizona, aside from scoring that opening goal, played for 45 minutes before they're like, oh, we can score again? We're allowed? Okay. Boy. So beginning of the week versus Florida, it's a 3-2 overtime loss. Joe Thornton comes back to the tank. First time in nearly 19 years. Oddly enough, well, no, not oddly, because I think they did it with Reimer, perhaps with Pavelski, but they did the before the game video versus the one that they throw up during the TV timeout.
Which I like, because I understand, like, oh yeah, okay, like, Jumbo's our buddy. We love Jumbo, and yeah, it's awesome. But I kind of like getting that out of the way during the pregame festivities, because then once you get to the game, it's all business. There's no fooling around like, oh yeah, I know we're in a real tight battle, but we miss you, buddy. Like, no, 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 no.
Well,
save it for the before or after the game.
Well, I like that they do the tribute video, which is essentially, that's what it is.
Yeah.
A tribute video that's for guys like a Thornton, a Marlowe, a Pavelski. There are other players that come back, and it's kind of like when Brendan Dillon comes back and say, "Hey, you wore a jersey for a couple years for us. Good on you, dude. Here's your 30-second clip." All right.
Yeah, I was gonna say they might throw up like a quick highlight package and then be like, "Oh, welcome back, Brendan Dillon," and then that's it, right? Whereas these bigger players of stature, they get a full 3-minute video with the lights package.
Oh, they do the full stroke, the cradling of the balls. They get the whole deal.
My God, yeah.
The full slob job. We get it.
I did want to make a joke earlier, but I wanted you to have your moment as well, so I'll say it now. When you were going through the introduction, you were like, saying your thing, and you're like, we got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about Joe Thornton coming back, and immediately in my head, I'm like, you got to talk about that.
Had to be mentioned.
That's just me trying to be a dick.
And Chris, it seems like these Sunday takeovers becoming a thing. Yeah,
tell me about it.
Could San Jose stop playing games on Sundays? Anywho,
it's in the contract though. If if it's less than 7 days between Sharks games, we have to do a show. That's how it works.
It's all good. 1 for 5 on the power play against Florida, 2 for 2 on the PK, but they give up another fucking shorthanded goal. Second time in 3 games they've done that. Ugh. So the notes on that, not EK's best game statistically on that. Couture would score on a pseudo 5-on-3. Meloche, are you kidding me? All of a sudden he's the offensive firepower we're getting. Hertl gets 2 assists. Failed Couture clear, leads what's his name? Vetrano?
Yep.
And then the dude is the first star of the game and gets traded to the Rangers the next day. That's got to be a son of a bitch.
Which I think is, and
ended it in OT, off the face-off.
And not that it matters for our perspective, but I thought it was kind of peculiar because, he puts up the 2 goals, right? And Vetrano's a good player. And then so Florida to just be like, yeah, whatever, we'll get what we can. It was kind of a weird move, but obviously, we know why they did it, but it was a weird sequence of events,
Mm-hmm. Way weird. Tickets sold in that one. Okay, this is the thing that I wanted to lay into the fans a little bit for. 12,276 sold. Not used, just sold. Dude, Joe, aside from Patrick Marleau, Joe Thornton was this franchise for a decade and a half. And I get it that, the Sharks suck. How do you not sell out the barn for a guy that changed the franchise? Like, to me, I was kind of, man, that's a bad look, dude.
Okay, so I remember having the mindset. This is a mindset I had a long time ago, right? 6-7 years ago, maybe. Where I had this idea of like, I think it would be cool to like, anytime the Sharks are playing, a team that has a player that used to play for them, like I want to go to the game, see the tribute video, if they do anything nice, if the player kind of shows up, and has a little chip on his shoulder and, maybe scores a winning goal. But then I thought about it more and it's like, yeah, okay, what do you, as a ticket holder, what is your reason for going to the game? The tribute video is online. Joe Thornton you can see him on your TV. Like and I don't want to, make fun of anybody, but it's just like, the way some folks were talking about getting to go to the game, it's as if like they were going to dinner with Thornton after the game. And it was just, do whatever you want, but it was just very confusing to me.
Well, and Lacey with a solid point. It's, how do you not air the game on television for fans to actually see?
That's the other thing I'm trying to make too. Is it obviously it was an ESPN Plus game. From from the NHL's perspective, they probably looked at that and said, okay, I don't know that this is going to increase television numbers. And I think on some level they were right. I mean, it was a tribute video before the game even started. I don't know that.
It's just they can sit
grand
there and
scheme. I don't know it's a big deal. I don't know it's that big of a deal.
Well, they can pimp the shit out of it.
Sure.
ESPN can sit there and go, oh, the first time.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
So it gives them something to promote the crap out of, but whatever. Let's move on, shall we, please? There's so much more to talk about. Sharks at LA can't score. They suck. Next.
I mean, more or less, it was a much different game. It was
than
a much
all the other ones.
Yeah, it was a much different Thursday night in LA game than the one that I went to a week and a half before. It seemed, I don't know, it just seemed like there was just zero jump at all, right? Like it felt like the Sharks knew that they had a big game against the Avalanche the next day, and so they were kind of like, well, let's just get through this one, get back home, and figure that out. And it's like, I think we've seen this year, especially you of all people would say this, you can't really sleep on the Kings this year.
Hey, now. I mean, barring all those ridiculous injuries, but
sure,
I'm not understanding why Sawchenko didn't get the start in this over Reimer, seeing as how they were going to play Colorado the next day. Like, I was like, really?
I read a conspiracy theory.
You don't read. Stop.
I read a conspiracy theory that the reason why Sawchenko went against the Avalanche is because when he inevitably gets lit up, Bob wanted to have an excuse to be like, hey, see, look, he's not ready. We got to send him down.
Well, see, and here's the thing that really pissed me off in this game. All right. At one point, because I'm sorry. My blunder. It's in the Colorado game. But I get what you're saying. The storyline was, look, lazy, no energy, too many penalties. Meyer with one of the worst and unluckiest games I've ever seen him go.
Yeah, no kidding.
And to top it all off, it was Jonathan Quick night. They had a big procession, big 700 hat. By the way, what a random fucking number to do everything up for.
Yeah, that doesn't really feel like unless he's the franchise leader in games for a goalie, then I understand it. But it's such a weird kind of benchmark.
Yeah, but either way, the whole to-do about Jonathan Quick, and they're like, okay, great, Quick, you've been so amazing for us all these years, blah, 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 stroke, 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 fondle, 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 and Cal Peterson, your starting goaltender tonight. Like, what a dick move that is.
I will say this, if you want to look for something positive in this game, I'm a big fan of defensemen being physical. Or having physicality, body checks, that sort of thing, as part of playing defense. And you look, Jake Middleton, Jacob Magna, 3 hits each, Nick Milosh, 5 hits. I like seeing that. I know it means absolutely nothing because the Sharks lost and they were shut out 3-0, but it's still, I think people are going to say whatever they want about the blue line, but I think when you're playing like that, I think it is an important element of the game. And so I agree with you. There wasn't a lot of energy and not a lot of jump. Too many penalties, too much not happening. But at least, as we say, there were some people on this team who, quote unquote, had their guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just not enough.
Yeah.
We are going to get to some of the comments that are coming in from the Arizona game that Puck Guy's throwing up for us. And that will happen in just a minute. But we have to get through the Colorado game. 5-3 loss, second meeting of the season. They lost 6-2 in Colorado back in November. Sawchenko gets his third NHL start, gets absolutely shelled. And the Avs, of course, they come in. They hadn't played since Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Sharks had played at L.A. the night before. But, of course, Bugner's always going to tell you, but it's not an excuse. 0 for 5 on the power play. 0 for 5.
And for all that was talked about the 2 weeks prior to this week about how the power play was buzzing, right? And then it's, there was a lot of talk, oh, the Sharks power play is back on track, and it's awesome. They've been so good in the month of February.
Dude, it was like they had 3 good games.
No, but that's what I'm saying. And it's like now it's back to where it's been for a majority of the season. It's like, okay, all right, we're, as you always say, the good play was a bug, not a feature.
You right? I mean, Couture would crash early. It paid off, but Colorado challenges for offside and wins. Nieto, for whatever reason, I never found an explanation, but he played like only one shift in the first, but then
he got hurt somewhere along the way, but then he came back.
Yeah, like with 5 minutes left, it was whatever.
He played. Only got 11, just over 11 minutes of ice time when compared to Bonino had 14. And Bonino's his line mate. So
you're right. Let's see here. Helm would make it 2-1 after EK65 had a pretty bad turnover.
Can I be honest with you right now?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot Darren Helm was in the NHL.
Who?
Honestly, I saw that he scored, and I was like, "This guy is still here." Like, I was
still doing this.
I was so confused, because he's just one of those guys.
Yeah. Makar opens the second with a goal. EK65 watches. This is not a good game for EK.
No, it's been a tough week for him, I think.
Yeah.
Tough week for everybody, really, when you really think about it.
Except Hertl.
Yeah, evidently. I'm sure he's drying his tears with his stacks and stacks of cash.
Right. It's made 4-0 on a delayed penalty via tips of Vlasic's shot. It's 4-1. Hooray for the fourth line. Rudy rushes the net, buries one. It's 4-2. And they tickled your ass with a feather. They pull Sawzy. EK scores through traffic.
I was going to say, Carlson stuck it back at you.
Yeah. It's 4-3, and then they get the empty netter. It's 5-3. It's over.
I'm picturing, like, the puck is on his stick, and, like, I'm picturing as he's winding up, he spots you up in the press box and winks and then fires it into the net. He's like, "Oh, you think I've been bad tonight? Watch this."
Yeah,
bang,
nerd.
Right in the net. Yeah.
Oh man. But
dude,
special teams again.
Cale Makar
is so fucking good.
22 goals as a defenseman.
Oh, man,
like that's unreal.
What a pull! What a fucking pull!
Yeah, I mean, the fact. I mean, I know he was taken 4th overall, so like, okay, good player goes early in the draft. Big shock. But
if you do that draft again today,
number 1 easily.
Yeah, like it's not even up for debate.
Yeah, and I would love to find some draft notes from the time to corroborate this, but it's crazy to me that he was passed on.
Was he the top defenseman? Was he the first defenseman taken in that draft?
No, dude, he was the second.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he was.
Oh my God.
I know. It was Miro Heiskanen was.
Oh, number 3?
The first. Yeah, he was the first defenseman taken. He went 3rd. And then Cale Makar went 4th to the Avalanche. And I mean, hindsight's 20/20, right? But
Heiskanen's not horrible by any stretch.
No, he's good. He's just
he ain't no fucking Cale Makar.
Yeah, the team around him's not that great, and I don't know.
Oh, how dare you besmirch the name of Pavelski?
Right.
So anyway, let's get back to the Colorado game. It's another game. The Sharks can't manufacture offense from the guys that are paid to score. A second intermission. Here's the thing that had me buzzing earlier. The fact that Curtis Brown said in the second intermission, well, you can't blame Sawchenko for any of those 4 goals. Okay, so ipso facto, the guys in front of Sawzy suck.
Right. Yeah.
But we can't say that. No. You can't blame Sawchenko for those. Well, then who do we blame, Curtis?
Yeah, who do you blame? You don't want to be mean. You have to be nice.
Oh man,
right?
I'm so fucking tired of Brown and Hedeken. Jesus.
So I wanted to go back to this.
Stop with the fucking Pollyanna.
So we're all on this podcast. There's 2 things that we are about. We're about We're about numbers, and we're about trends, storylines. Something to chew on. Did you know that in the 4 games this week, Rudolph's Balcers combined for 40 seconds on the power play?
Unbelievable.
Rudolph's Balcers, who also had 2 goals this week, I might want to add. So it just came to my mind.
Hashtag Jam Job Bob.
Yeah. I mean, dude, what do you have to lose at this point?
That's all I'm saying. But I forget who the band is or whatever. There's some band that has a song called "Give Me Some Truth," and just every time I hear when they go to Curtis Brown, I'm like, oh, just give me some truth.
Well, that's a song. That's a song by. Let's see. Is that a song by John Lennon?
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. Yeah, I think it is a Beatles thing.
Shout out to Google.
I know. So, yeah. Anyway, but the whole thing about we can't say that the team. We just don't blame Sawchenko for this. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Well, but then, like you said, blame who?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't want to get into that.
Exactly.
I'll tell you later,
Yeah. Once the cameras are off and no one can hear me, that's when I'll let you know. Hetty could not stop talking about passes by EK65. He has, for the, what do you call it? His the carving knives that he has for Merkley.
Dude, yeah.
Does he just show up to the tank with like a bouquet of roses for EK65 every game? I mean, god damn, there's a lot of stroking of EK65
it's
by
like
Hedeken.
and it's like we've talked about before. It seems like he has been kind of the mouthpiece for Bob a little bit. Whatever Bob does or doesn't do or says or thinks or whatever, Hedeken's like, oh yeah, it's a real shrewd move by the coach, and it's like, well,
dude,
okay,
everybody does the best things, I don't know how many times tonight Randy would say something and Hetty would be like, yeah, absolutely, Randy. Yeah,
well,
you're right.
I thought it was very. I'll be totally honest with you. I watched the Arizona feed for the second period and part of the third period because I couldn't hang. When Arizona took the lead, I actually switched back to the Sharks feed because I was like, all right, I don't want to hear about how the Coyotes are going to win, but it was just so weird. And then all the Godfather references, what
the fuck are we talking about here?
What is that?
I don't get it, man. And whoa, boy, I thought was it this week? He had another one of those Hedeken type moments where it was something about on this opportunity right here, he had the opportunity to put it in, but he wasn't able to seize on that opportunity. I'm like, oh my fucking god, buy a goddamn thesaurus, I beg of you. You have time on flights to read. Do that. Do that.
You should do that.
You should do that. Let's get back to the Arizona game. Since this is a takeover after dark, we do actually have to cover a little bit more. So, Puck Guy adding in those comments. Bugner on Reimer. With a guy like that already under contract, I would like to think he's pretty safe, and I think Reimer probably would agree with that.
Huh.
Well,
okay.
Stranger things have happened. I don't know. There's been some talk about Reimer potentially getting moved.
No, but here's the thing, and
if his contract expires this year, I think he's already gone.
Yeah,
he already would have been traded.
And here's the thing: I know people are going to say, "Oh my God, Reimer is so good this year," and he is. I mean, we were making All-Star and Vezina mentions earlier in the season, but if a team's going to pay up for Reimer, I think you take it because a goalie like Reimer, obviously it seems like Adin Hill is, the future in net, right? So why not just, if you do get the opportunity to trade Reimer for a good package, you can go out in the summer during free agency period and you can sign another goalie who's exactly like Reimer. In the last week, I've had this conversation so many times with so many different people. Why if you're on an expiring contract and you're trying to bulk up for the playoff run, I understand that element of it. Sure. But and the one that comes to mind is Travis Hamonic and Travis Dermott, both of whom were traded earlier today. Mm-hmm. And it's like, why are teams paying draft picks for replacement players that you can find as a free agent 2 weeks into the summer?
No.
And it's the same thing with Reimer. If a team wants to pay up, take it, and then you can just find his replacement for free in the summer.
Well, that's a kind of okay. So we've gotten beyond the games. We're sounds like we're going to start to get into our normal back and forth.
It's all good. We're just chatting.
But I hear you on that. I'm thinking that's why the Middleton ask is considered high by a lot of people because they're saying, oh, no, for Middleton, we want at least a second in like a prospect or something like that. And most people are saying, fuck out of here for that, right?
Well, and that's the thing. The operating procedure has been, we're going to keep him unless we get blown away.
Exactly. That was my point. It's like, we're happy enough with this guy to keep him, but if you want to, if you're going to allow us to take advantage and fleece you, then sure, take him.
And that's the thing, you don't have the opportunity to be blown away if you don't ask for something that would blow you away.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking like Hetty right there, saying the word blow away so many times.
I didn't want to point it out. Let's get into stock up, stock down. Look, Hertl, Chief got paid and acknowledged.
Stock up, Hertl's bank account.
Yeah. Oh, dude. But Chief got paid, but also acknowledged reality when they were doing the media session with him, where it's, oh, congratulations on the deal and blah blah blah. He's talking to the different media members, and at one point he says something along the lines of, well, when you miss, I think it asked him about the potential of being traded and how worried he was, and his response was something along the lines of, well, when you miss the playoffs for 3 straight years, you expect changes. And I'm like, whoa, but your captain just said a week ago we're a runaway.
They're close to being close.
Exactly. So I was like, okay. John Leonard, I had you stock up. You got called up after us calling you out last week. And now stock down. John Leonard, you got called up and you've been scratched the last 2 games. Hashtag jam job Bob.
It's the sucky thing is that, like, we look at it and like you just said, he got called up and he's already being scratched. But the thing is, at this point in the season, like, he was called up and immediately put on the second line. You have to make an impact right away.
Yeah.
That said, I subscribe to the philosophy that you need to leave guys where they are and let them figure it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, you kind of, you need an immediate impact at the same time. I don't know. You got to learn to balance both, I think.
Exactly.
I would let we got coming up on the schedule. You got Calgary on Tuesday. That's a bit, it's a bit more of a skilled team. I would like to see Leonard back in the lineup for that game personally, but we'll see.
Well, it is what it is. Stock down Hedekin because of all the things that I said earlier. Couture were a playoff spot. You're 4-11 or like 4-12 since the break. Piss on somebody else's leg. Tell them it's raining.
Yeah,
stop.
I'm trying to like rack. I would say, I don't know. That's the thing. It was kind of a brutal week for the Sharks, so it's hard to even, I'm assuming that's why we kind of ripped through stock up so quickly. But even then, I'm trying to like rack my brain. Like, okay, does anybody?
Gregor?
Yeah, I thought Gregor's played with some jump.
Yeah.
I thought.
I mean, he got scratched a couple of games, right? And Bugner kind of, he told everybody what the message was. So, we need more from him and blah, 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 blah. Well, and then today, after the game versus Arizona, Bugner comes out and says, Gregor, probably the best game he's played all season.
Yeah, I mean, he got the game-winning goal.
Yeah.
And
it's just, but here, what the thing is that I like so much about that is that Bugner, when he didn't like Gregor's game, he scratched him. He sent him a message. He said things to him. I don't like what I'm seeing here. Need to change some shit. Then he had a really good game, and he goes, hey, you're doing the right things. You have a great game. Best one all year. It's the whole idea of Bob Bugner. If the coach was Curtis Brown, it would be like, oh, maybe you just need to see somebody about how you have a more optimistic outlook about your game. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah.
It's like, no, when they suck, call it out. When they do good, call it out. None of this, our home was taken away in a tornado and thrown down 3 miles away. But Curtis Brown says it's in a better neighborhood now. Fuck off with this.
So obviously, for me, stock up as well, Balsers. You look at obviously 2 goals this week, but I think even in the games where he wasn't scoring, I like what I'm seeing with him. He has jump to his game. He's getting in, on the scoring chances. He doesn't, I know, grand scheme of things, he's probably better suited on a third line for a really good team, but when he does play on that top 6, I think he fits there well.
Well, let's move into the moduel. No real changes, right? Anybody bouncing up?
Let's see. Well, Noah Gregor with his goal today, 4th goal of the season, 4th high value goal of the season. So he's scoring when it matters most. I mean, there's not really a lot of action. Timo Meier.
Well, we had one game where nobody fucking scored, so
that's what I'm saying. It's been the same. It's been the same as it's been all year. You've heard me say the top 3 is still the top 3. Meier, Hertl, Couture. Lately, Meier has been running away with it, and we've seen Hertl and Couture kind of passing the baton back and forth to each other. This is another situation where we're so far in to the season that we're finally starting to see the full
effect of it.
The full effect of it. So Hertl has 24 goals. Logan Couture has 20 goals. So there's a 4-goal difference there. But Hertl's module score is only 1 point better. And that kind of is an indication. You look, 14 of Couture's 20 goals are high value. None of them are low value.
And Meier's kind of gone silent over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's got 26 goals right now. I believe after the Martin Luther King game where he had 5, I believe that brought him to 20 or 21.
Yeah.
So it's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I mean, Balcers, I thought Balcers was really going to rocket up the ranking here, but, Bonino and Carlson have both, created more separation between them and Balcers. Balcers has 2 more goals than Burns, yet his module score is actually the same. So
Caribe.
kind of the other side of the coin, if you will.
So look, the big thing is this week, Tomas got his cookies.
Mm-hmm.
So look, it's essentially 8x8. 3 years, first 3 years, no move. Then 5 years, limited, no trade, no move. No move clause is years 1 through 3. Full no trade. 4 is 4 through 6. And then limited, no trade. Wait a minute, am I reading this fucking incorrectly?
Yeah. So the first 3.
Say it.
the first 3 years are a full no move clause. And then years 4, 5, and 6, he submits a list of 3 teams he can be traded to, which is similar to the Brent Burns trade protection. But what I like here, and I think this will turn your crank a little bit, years 7 and 8, when theoretically the deal is going to be at its absolute worst, according to the
everybody
Reddit supporters out there. It's a 15-team trade list. Half the league he can be traded to without permission in year 7 and 8, which I think is,
I don't have any problem with that, and I hope that if he's going to continue to do these 8x8 deals, that is part of it.
I have no problem with an 8x8 deal as long as the player is worth 8x8.
Yeah, but I still want there needs to be that out. That it can't be full no move the entire length of the deal. Like you got to give the team a little something.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, that's we'll just go to our little tweet of the week now since we're talking about it, and just because I found it humorous. Clark Webster saying we're going to keep giving out 8-year contracts to aging players until it works. I got a kick out of that.
I mean, but you've said it yourself. 28 is the age that you sign a player long term.
That's the absolute. That's the deadline for signing.
I'm just saying if 28 is aging.
Oh, I know.
Then what the hell are you?
But Hertl's knees.
We talked about that off air. I don't think it needs to be brought on air because it's just so stupid. And even oh man, I don't remember who said it. I can't remember if it was Corey or if it was Shang, but one of them kind of peed all over that argument. It was like this is the injury history. Notice how None of them have been, the most recent one was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And even then, that was the first one in like 4 years from that point. Like it's a non-issue.
So look, you had a flood of.
That's like real quick. That's like, okay. And I'm gonna ask you a personal question. I'm sure. Have you ever been in a car accident?
Yes.
And how many years ago was that?
Around 25 years ago.
Okay, and I've ridden with you in the car before. If I get in the car with you today in 2022.
Okay, and by the way, I wasn't driving, but go ahead.
Well, point being, if I get in the car with you in 2022 and I say, "Oh man, I'm a little nervous. AJ had a car accident 20 years ago," like you're gonna think I sound like a moron.
I'm telling you.
And it's the same thing, like this. And I understand he's had more knee injuries than the average late 20s person. I will absolutely concede that point. But time and time again, he's shown that they're not a factor. And Ian Reed mentioned it on the show where they kind of mentioned the Hertl signing was he's played almost 600 NHL games. Like I think at this point the litmus test is well been confirmed.
Yeah. So everybody talked about should the Sharks have traded him or kept him. What say you? I'm running a poll right now, and
do you okay? So is this just straight up yes or no, or do I get to explain myself?
Well, you get to explain yourself, but let me mention the poll first.
Sure.
As I just asked the question: should the Sharks have traded Hertl? Yes, no, depends on the return. So, and I think that. Look, that's probably going to be everybody's answer because, look,
right.
Only because it's like, well, wait, is somebody, some idiot going to give us Connor McDavid and, whatever for, does Colorado say, yeah, we'll give you Cale Makar for that? I mean, so, yeah, of course it depends on the return. Is it going to be some ridiculous just assortment of picks like what
a bushel basket, if you will?
Yeah. But for what was given for EK65, right? Mm-hmm. Sharks gave up a lot for that. Is there something that has what Claude Giroux got? Would that be commiserate?
Honestly, the thing about Claude Giroux, only because you mentioned him, I believe for what Florida had to give up to get him, I think they gave up below what Giroux's market value is. Reason being, Giroux kind of painted the Flyers into a corner. He basically told them trade me to Florida or don't trade me at all. So what is Philadelphia supposed to do, right? Whereas at the Hertl situation, and again, nobody knows anything unless you're there, right? But all indications are that, if Hertl was going to be traded, it was kind of open-ended.
Yeah. Well,
and so when it is open-ended like that, from the Sharks' perspective, there is a certain luxury in trying to drive up the asking price.
I don't know. I mean, I can understand why the fan base is like another fucking 8-year deal.
Right.
I can understand that. But then it was like, well, who was going to replace Hertl? Who's going to be your number one center?
Dude, they're going to bring Tierney back, didn't you hear?
Oh, yeah, that's right. So
here's the thing, and you and I have said this all year. If the Sharks are able to re-sign Hertl, it means they have a plan. And I think
we're not saying that plan is worth a shit. We're just saying that there at least is one.
Right. And we talked about it before. I think I said it a couple weeks ago where, say the Sharks get Hertl signed, they need to and I don't fault them for trying because you have to try things. But this idea, this mindset that they've had the last 3 years of, well, we're going to see what the guys we have in the system can do. They've tried it. I respect them for it. It has not worked.
Mm-hmm.
You get Hertl signed. Hertl has put pen to paper, says, I want to be here for 8 years. To me, that is the ultimate indication that it's go time. I think, Ian and Puckeye and Landy, they mentioned it earlier in the week. the blue line needs to be addressed. Whether that's trading Brent Burns, whether that's buying out Mark-Edward Vlasic, you got to do one or the other.
Okay, so that brings me to my next point. The Sharks are going to be paying about $47 million next year for LeBanc, Carlson, Vlasic, Burns, Hertl, and Couture.
Okay.
That's 57, almost 60% of your cap for 6 players, not to mention still paying Jones's buyout, which is an extra $2 million.
Sure.
You still need deals for Meyer and Ferraro eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget we still have to save, like $750,000 on the side for Patrick Marleau.
Dude.
But anyway, I mean, dude, that's an awful lot for 6 players, bro. And I'm,
the cap is going to go up $1 million next year, worth mentioning.
Okay, but I'm of the, I know we've kind of well, I don't know, we beat it around the bush a little bit, but I'm one of those people that says, you know what? I make Vlasic the highest paid 7th defenseman next year. I don't think you buy him out this year. I think you ride it one more year because that penalty is going to be so goddamn severe.
Well, and it's like you said earlier with Noah Gregor, send a message.
Mm-hmm. And, all of a sudden, if you're getting scratched, if you're the highest paid 7th defenseman in the league, perhaps you start saying, I think I'd kind of like to go to a team that will actually play me. And all of a sudden that no move clause just like, here's the sheet and of all the teams I'm willing to go to. And it basically has like Arizona and, I don't know, Buffalo scratched out. Everything else is like, yeah, send me. I don't care.
Sure. So they mentioned, they did on 32 Thoughts, this week, they did kind of a sort of rapid fire trade deadline preview for every team. They did maybe 90 to 100 seconds on each team. Mm-hmm. And, the only thing of note for the Sharks was they want to re-sign Barabanov. Okay, well, we already know that. But they also said, Elliot Friedman said, I wonder if Vlasic might be a buyout candidate over the summer. And the reason why that stands out to me is because if somebody like Elliot Friedman, and he's just theorizing, just wondering out loud, mm-hmm. if somebody like Elliot Friedman is wondering that, to me that means it's come up in conversation somewhere.
I'll give you that. Even
if it's just a random thought that has nothing behind it, to me that means it's come up somehow. And so, I'm kind of, I said earlier, trade Burns or buyout Vlasic. You have to do one. Personally, I would do both. but I think, I know there's a lot of salary cap sort of gymnastics that's going to have to be done over the summer here. But again, like I said, with getting Hertl signed, that there's a plan there. Like, it's not a situation where it's like, okay, well, you're signed and we're just going to jam in a bunch of ELC guys. Like, there has to be a plan to move some money out. I think the brass has decided, playing, graduating our guys from the prospect pool to the NHL. It's not worked as much as they'd wish. It's time to be serious. And, I'm not going to say that they're going to make a couple signings and then go to the Cup final like they did 6 years ago, but I think it's time to just say, we got Hertl signed and we're very fortunate because he's our best player. We cannot squash this.
Well, here's my thing. You've signed Hertl.
Yes.
Great. Love it. Fine. But like you're saying, that means that there's a plan. There had better be playoffs coming next season.
You'd hope.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is that, it's this whole, we're ready to go now. Like we're not rebuilding. That's their whole thing. We're not going to rebuild. Okay, great. Love it. We're going to sign the team's favorite player, the fan favorite, 8 years. Okay, great. Love it. So that's a solid player. It's somebody you'd like on your team. So now what happens if y'all miss the playoffs again next season? Because that's when people are going to come back again and say, well, look what happened. You signed this guy, but you signed Hertl because it's the whole thing of like, we're not going to rebuild. Well, look, you still missed the goddamn playoffs. So everybody's going to sit there. All the armchair GMs are going to go, you should have gotten rid of him for a king's ransom.
Right.
And just Wilson. If this team misses the playoffs next season, I'm predicting right now Wilson will get run out of town by the fan base.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way he wouldn't, just because 3 consecutive years is already going to be the record for missing the playoffs for the Sharks. Imagine they miss the playoffs a 4th year in a row.
Yeah.
Somebody new is going to come in and they're going to they don't care, because that's the thing, and you have to understand it too, is because Doug Wilson has been here so long. The players who have been here for a while have built up a considerable amount of equity, and that's not to say that they're untradeable, but there's a lot of equity there. And if, say, you miss the playoffs this year, you miss the playoffs next year, which is 4 years in a row, Doug Wilson gets hired, and Mr. Outside Hire becomes the GM. Mr. Outside Hire is not going to give a shit that Brent Burns has been there for 12 years.
Exactly. Yeah, there's going to be none of that. Well, I got to take care of my guys. Let's keep all these guys beyond their best buy date.
Right.
Ugh. Drives me crazy. So what do you think happens between now and tomorrow at noon Pacific when the trade deadline happens? What do you think happens for the Sharks? Do you think we see another facilitation of a deal for picks?
I'll tell you this, if we don't, I'm going to be a little pressed, because the Sharks have a ridiculous amount of salary cap space. They've got, tomorrow they're going to have $27 million in prorated cap space. In a team, and dude,
let's make a deal.
Well, and we've talked about it all year, dude. Half the team is in LTIR. If you're not stepping up to be a broker, you're making a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
San Jose is going to step in and do that. Buffalo, word on the street is Buffalo is going to step in and do that. Same thing with the Kraken. And that's the smart play. If you're going nowhere this year, what does it matter?
Dude, the Kraken are collecting draft picks like they're fucking Pokemon cards, dude. Dude.
Well, and
30 picks, bro.
That creates another question, right? So the Kraken got a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 7th for Calle Jarnkrok. Now, Calle Jarnkrok, good player.
Did you see Pierre right now?
No, I did not, but I'm going to look.
Nashville Predators have acquired Jeremy Lauzon from the Seattle Kraken.
Oh, man. Do we play Nashville again this year? I need to know if Randy Hahn's going to continue to say his name wrong.
Yes. April 14th. So look forward to that.
Dude, mark it on the freaking calendar. He set the first game against the Kraken, it was I want to say 5 different pronunciations.
Did I just say it correctly?
Say it again?
Lauzon?
I mean Lauzon, Jeremy Lauzon, but
Lauzon, okay.
It's close. You're not saying lasagna, you know what I mean? You're close.
Gotcha.
It's
Anyway, back to what do you think the Sharks are going to, or just those moves that we see where you facilitate. You're getting something. You're not sitting around with your, with your pen up your ass going, you know what, we signed Hertl. What, retire that pen. Let's go hit the links.
Yeah, right. I'm, going back to this Jeremy Lauzon thing, I'm curious. I'm curious to see, depending on what Seattle acquires for Jeremy Lauzon, I think
if it's another pick, I'm going to laugh my ass off. Just based on the fact that we were literally,
it probably is another pick.
Okay, just the fact that we were literally talking about that right when that came down. The amount of picks they have is insane.
But you know what? I'm wondering. I really think what Lauzon goes for, I think, is going to be pretty comparable for what, what Jake Middleton would fetch if he is traded. Maybe whatever Lauzon goes for, maybe bump it up around. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a realistic Middleton expectation.
All right. So for the Pacific, I mean, so we, if it comes down,
sorry, I'm sorry. I had one more point. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
Seattle got, as we talked about, a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 7th for Calle Jarnkrok. Good player. Not as good as Barabanov, in my opinion. kind of makes you wonder.
I would agree with you.
The hamster on the wheel starts spinning a little bit, and you wonder, you sort of do the evil villain like finger tapping together,
the stroking of the beard.
No, either that or you put your fingers together and you kind of tap them, kind of like a pyramid, and you're just like, no, both hands. Like, yes, exactly that. You're just like, I wonder what this could get for me. I mean, ultimately, even if it does come after the trade deadline, I do ultimately think Barabanov is going to re-sign. So, unless same thing as Middleton, unless the Sharks get absolutely blown away.
Yeah, and it should be noted, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, that Jarnkrok did get 50% of his salary eaten.
Yeah, jeez. So excited at these draft pick returns.
No, but dude, I mean, you got a second, a third, and a seventh, and 50% salary. Dude, Calgary going for it, man.
Yeah, well, Calgary is all in this year, and I think it's Edmonton, not what we thought they were going to be. Vegas, not what we thought they were going to be.
Hold the phone. Edmonton is on the come up quick.
Yeah, but you know what?
Things are going so well there right now. There's talk of giving Kane a multi-year extension. I'm like, why would anybody ever give this guy a deal longer than a year at this point?
Not our problem.
Okay.
No, I think, we predicted the Pacific Division to be Edmonton, Vegas 1-2. Mm-hmm. That's not what it is. I give Calgary, by the way, I was sleeping on Calgary like you would not believe. Calgary is they're going on all in. Calgary got Toffoli. Calgary got Calle Jarnkrok. They are not done. I don't know who they're going after. But Calgary, I'm telling you, Calgary's not done. Maybe Calgary goes after Jake Middleton.
Dude, and they only have 5 regulation losses at the Saddle Dome.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think, this is what I said. I said in Discord, the Sharks are historically a deadline day trader. They don't really get into any of the pre-deadline activity, Nyquist being the obvious exception. And it's for reasons like this, because Calle Jarnkrok goes what he goes for. Joe Will can turn around and they can say, Joe Will can turn around and say, hey, my guy's the better player. So, monkey see, monkey do.
No, I like the setting that precedent. And by the way, for you guys getting that horse eye in, Buffalo is up 1-0
on
the Canucks.
Oh man,
are you kidding? So. Yeah, I don't understand why anybody would sign Kane to anything longer than 1 year. Just year by year. That's it. That's the best it's somebody put that meme together. The guys in the pawn shop, like the best I can do. Year by year. What?
Hey, here we. If you don't follow Kevin Weeks on Twitter, you should, because he's taken it a step further. Anytime he tweets out a trade, he's filming a little selfie video and throwing it out there.
Yeah, I've caught it. The real interesting background with the green things.
Yeah,
real weird.
Scott Wedgwood from Coyotes, so sat on the bench tonight in San Jose and then gets traded. Scott Wedgwood to Dallas for a 4th round pick next year. And so again, the same thing. Scott Wedgwood is going for a 4th. Mm-hmm. Makes you wonder about James Reimer.
I brought it up.
Scott Wedgwood, who is a pending UFA, and looking at the stats really quick, decent save percentage. He allows a lot of goals, but that's being on Arizona. Reimer's the better goalie. He's got another year under contract. So at the absolute worst case scenario, you can get a 4th for Reimer if you put him out there. But based on the stats, you would get more just based on that. So, like I said, you sort of survey the situation, you let things percolate a little bit, and you have other teams set the market for you, because I'm envisioning, right, as a GM, so you make a player available and the team says, well, what do you want for him? And I picture that being a really tough thing to answer, because if you under ask, then it's like, okay, sure, dummy, thank you. And if you over ask, they might say, oh, you're ridiculous, hang up. Oh. And so it's kind of a big 4D chess play to basically let other GMs set the price for you.
The thing that I think is so fun though is that you hear Florida people, some people going, "Wow, Florida's really going for it, aren't they?" You look at Calgary, man, Calgary, dude, got to be all in on this. There's some people that are even talking about like LA, like, can they overcome?
They traded for Troy Stetcher today.
Yes, but everything was, can they overcome their injuries? I was worried that, you mentioned it. Like, how does LA not call San Jose and be like, hey, remember that Middleton guy that we drafted?
Yeah. And, things are starting to turn around. They got LA, they got Alexander Edler back, which is obviously big for them, but they just moved, I believe they moved Matt Roy to injured reserve, or maybe they slid him over to long-term injured reserve, but they did some kind of shuffling of their deck chairs today. But I look at it and it sounds like Drew Doughty is going to be out longer than they anticipated. So now it's like,
right.
I still think, and you kind of said from the top, you said that there's been a lot of activity in the last 3 days. Are we going to see anything tomorrow? And I think a prime answer to that would be pointing at the LA Kings. Like, the LA Kings, I don't know what they're going to do, but they're going to do something.
Well, and I'm a little surprised to see Dallas making moves.
I'm not, dude. They're 1 point behind Vegas with 4 games in hand. Why wouldn't they?
Okay.
I would, if I'm Dallas, if I'm Dallas, I'm trading for guys who either aren't going to cost a lot, or if they do cost a lot, you try to re-sign them, or you trade for guys who have term. I would try and pull the hat right off of Vegas's head. That's what I would do.
Well,
why not? Why not? What do you have to lose?
Yeah, no. And how great would that be? It's like, how many times is Pavelski going to fuck that franchise?
and people have been linking Jacob Chychrun to LA from the beginning. Obviously, he is injured right now, and Kevin Lacey has pointed out multiple times over, Chychrun feels like a draft move, but the option is still on the table. But you're looking, there are plenty of John Klingberg is kind of the sleeping giant. It looks like Dallas is going to keep him, but maybe something changes. Maybe, again, I feel like it all kind of depends on, okay, if you trade for this guy, can you get him to an extension? Like, you look at Hampus Lindholm. He was a Boston Bruin for 12 hours, and he signed for 8 years.
I love those. Getting back to Edmonton, though, dude.
Yeah.
They're only 2 points behind LA for second, and they have 2 games in hand. They're on a 5-game winning streak, dude. Like, I'm telling you.
But it's also Edmonton. The bottom always comes out for them. Until they get a goalie, the bottom is always going to come out for them. All
right. We'll take that. I just want to see if that's what it takes to keep Vegas to miss the playoffs. I will take it. Because I feel like Vancouver's really pissing away their opportunities.
Yeah, they were right there in the hunt, and it's slipping away. And they, such a weird thing. They traded Travis Hamonic for a draft pick, and you're making like, man, you got a draft pick for Travis Hamonic? Like, shrewd business move there. And then they turn around and they flip that draft pick for Travis Dermott. It's like, no, like, go back the other way. Like, you had it right the first time. So, they're already kind of moving things around. I see you similar to, like, you think about what San Jose did last year, specifically with Barabanov. Yes, they traded for somebody who was going to be a free agent, but they got him re-signed. So it was a quote unquote long-term move, right? Mm-hmm. I see Vancouver doing the same thing. Maybe they trade Connor Garland, maybe they trade Brock Besser, but I don't think it's a total strip down. I think it's kind of like a shuffling of the deck a little bit. So, and bringing in Travis Dermott kind of confirms that for me.
All right. So what happened? What do you think happens with Vegas? I thought I just saw that they basically what's his name? Brisebois?
No. Kelly McCrimmon.
No. The goaltender.
Larry Brisebois.
Okay, I think if I remember correctly, I read either yesterday or earlier today that his position, his number one spot, he's already been usurped by what's his name, Logan Thompson.
Yeah, Logan Thompson, dude. So
Logan Thompson is now the number one goalie for
I'm telling you,
this is great,
dude. Laurent Brossoit, but Larry is easier to say. Larry has been so bad for Vegas.
Oh,
Like
Larry B.
You hate to put all of the blame at the feet of the goalie, but yeah, like.
Well, to be fair, there'd been a few games where Vegas struggled to get one goal.
Sure. I think I kind of like how I mentioned before. You've got you take a look at the wild card standings, right? You've got Dallas 1 point behind them with now 3 games in hand.
Oh, you love to see it.
And granted, Vegas is on a 2-game winning streak, but even if Vegas makes the playoffs, that's not going to make all of their injured players automatically healthy.
Well, not only that, you sit there and you go, well, Vegas is on a 2-game winning streak, and it's okay. Good for Vegas, but who did they beat? You know, it's like, okay, they beat
one of them was Florida.
Yeah, they beat Florida. So, and that was a game that actually Joe Thornton had a goal in. That's how bad is that? How bad is your goaltending if Joe Thornton scored on you at this age? But they, they beat L.A., they beat Florida, so they've beaten 2 teams that are, doing well. Let's see, but that's in the safe confines of the fortress. Let's see what they look like tomorrow and Tuesday when they have to go back to back Minnesota and Winnipeg. That's it gets a little easier for them because they have Chicago and Seattle to finish out the end of the month, and then they get Seattle again to start April. And we mentioned this before, 3 straight against Vancouver, or not? I'm sorry, not 3 straight. 3 of 4 against Vancouver, followed by Calgary and Edmonton. Mm-hmm. That 2-week stretch, brah.
Big games.
Ooh, Vancouver. If there was ever a time for you to get your shit together,
it's now.
Oof.
No, I think this is what I would do if I was Vegas. Like you have to survey the field, right? I think, and they've got a mountain of injuries right now. They've got between injured reserve and long-term injured reserve, they got 7 guys out. Mm-hmm. But you need,
LA's like, can we talk?
But so like Alec Martinez, one of their top 3 defensemen.
Yep.
Mark Stone, Riley Smith, Max Pacioretty, 3 of their top 6 forwards. Robin Leonard, their starting goalie. You need to look at this crop of guys that I just mentioned and say, okay, are you close? Like if it's a situation where you're not close to being healthy, like if you're going to be like if you might be healthy in the middle of round 1, let's just say, then there's nothing Vegas is going to be able to do to stop the bleeding. And if it were me, I would just, it's going to suck for that fan base who has gotten very used to playoffs, but I would move Janmark. I would move Riley Smith, try and stack up some picks for this year and just try again next year.
Aren't they after this year, aren't they pretty much like in cap hell?
Dude, they're in cap hell right now. The only reason they could activate Jack Eichel was because they have so many guys who are hurt.
Yeah. No, I get that, but aren't they going to have to move a ton of shit next season?
Yeah, dude. For next season, if you factor in the cap going up $1 million, they're $3 million over the cap.
Oh man.
No, I'm sorry. I went the wrong way on that. They're $1 million over the cap. My mistake. But their roster size is 15 players. They need.
I think you need a little more than that.
The guys they need to re-sign are not going to break the bank, at least in terms of their restricted free agents, right? But Riley Smith, they don't want to lose him.
Yeah,
but he's
gonna.
He's making $5 million, and I think he's earned a raise.
Jeez.
And that's like I said, Vegas can make the playoffs. That's not going to make all their guys magically healthy. I would just sell what you can, chalk this up. And it's not their fault. They're not a bad team. They've just been brutalized by injuries. Sell what you can, stack some picks, do a couple moves, and just be back at it next year. That's what I would do if I was Vegas.
Well, Here's Couture was just quoted, said on the reality of the trade deadline with Santos in the Sharks dressing room. It's, if we played a little bit better for longer stretches, then you would be adding pieces, not losing them. That's on us in the room.
I mean, I think that's half true.
Okay, what's the half that is? Okay, what parts are true and what parts aren't?
Well, if we played better, we might be adding pieces. True, there have been some nights the Sharks have played poorly. The side of that's half true is even if this Sharks team played a perfect game every night, they're still not good enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
in terms of their
don't have enough talent.
Yeah, in terms of their roster construction.
Yeah, okay, but I just thought it was kind of funny that he's sitting there going, "You'd be adding pieces, not losing them." And right now I'm going, "Fuck, did they lose? They signed Hertl. What are you talking about?" Like,
so
did a trade happen that I'm unaware of?
So coming in, clearly he impressed in the game tonight. The Coyotes are getting ready to extend their goalie, Vejmelka, who got the loss tonight.
Oh, man. Oh, Taco Cruiser coming back. Thank you for the donation, my brother. Considering how well EK65 is playing, would he have any trade value despite his huge contract?
I mean,
no.
If you
eat half the salary, yeah.
I don't know that you have to eat half the salary,
well,
but it's a
$3
considerable. Yeah, at least $3 million. But even then, what purpose does that serve?
Yeah, exactly. We're stuck with him.
Well, and the thing, and you mentioned it earlier when you were talking about Tomas Hertl. Say you trade away. You were talking about Tomas Hertl. I'm talking about Erik Karlsson. You trade away this player. How many years are you going to spend trying to acquire a player exactly like that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you did, like, you had Brent Burns and you went out and got Karlsson.
Yeah, what does that tell you?
And with Merkley in the pipeline, no less. Oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted by a night sun. We have a police chase. So, look,
and Arizona's getting ready to finalize a trade. So clearly, being in San Jose has gotten their hockey operations staff, into gear. Making a trade, signing an extension.
Oh, man. Well, look, we know. I mean, we're 20, or we got a quarter was essentially left of the season. I think we know where everything is at. So what do you want to see the Sharks do?
What do you want?
What do you want to see the Sharks do over these last 20? Like, do you want to see like an improved power play? Do you want to see and obviously that comes with getting Balsers out there, but do you I mean, just what are you looking for? Because we know they're not going to the playoffs.
They're not?
Dude,
I was listening to Curtis Brown's podcast. He said they had a chance.
But with that happening, what are you going to do? What do you want to see over these last 20? What improvements would you like to see? I mean, obviously you'd like to see Noah Gregor hit, I don't know, 10.
We got a shout out to Evan.
All right, we're doing our Q&A now, people. Ideally, what does your D pairings look like next season? Thanks, guys. Thank you for checking us out.
So
I think you have to decide who the D is at this point because there's so many of them. Does Merkley start with the CUDA again next season?
No.
Okay, then. So,
I would say.
And is Knizhov going to be healthy?
God, I hope so.
Right? So you have a glut. I think job one would be trying to figure out how the hell to get somebody to take Shimmick off your hands.
No kidding. I would say, and this is so hard to do because you look at it and you say, well, if it were me, I would just get rid of all these guys. But then you have to be realistic too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say your top pair is probably Middleton Karlsson. And then your second pair, Ferraro Merkley.
Wow.
And, yeah.
So what do you do with Burns?
Trade him.
Oh man.
I don't care if he's a fan favorite. He's not an on ice favorite.
Oh man.
And then your third pair, like you said, there is a glut, right? I mean, you're stuck with Vlasic, so the easy answer is Vlasic. But then,
But I mean, as we were pleasantly surprised by Knyzhov last year, we were pleasantly surprised, I say, by both Middleton and Milosh.
yep.
So,
But they're good. But here's the thing:
they're replaceable, right?
they're replacement level players, but also on a Stanley Cup. Like Middleton is a different story. Like he's playing really well and having a positive impact. And Kevin pointing out Knyzhov will probably be with the Barracuda next season. I agree with that, just from a rehab perspective.
Yeah. It's going to take him a while to come back. But getting back to the point, though, what do the D pairs look like for you?
With Milosh, though, or Milosh, or however you say his name, like he's obviously played well when he's been out there this year, but on a good team, he's a seventh defenseman.
Milosh or Vlasic?
Yes. I think Middleton, Carlson, Ferraro, Merkley, and then I think your bottom pair is Vlasic and
I just hear Vlasic and I'm like, ugh.
Vlasic and unrestricted free agent signing,
Okay.
Maybe when you trade Brent Burns, maybe and it's going to be a waste of time to say who the Sharks should trade Brent Burns for, but we'll keep it simple for argument's sake. Say you trade Brent Burns for Mr. Middle Six forward and Mr. Bottom pairing defenseman and a draft pick, let's just say. Maybe that's it. Maybe you bring in a third pairing defenseman as part of the return package for Burns. Maybe you sign a guy.
But... And we've all the names that we've mentioned, we still haven't said a player named Hatika.
Hatika, I think Hatika will start the year with the Barracuda next year, but you're going to have a hard time keeping him down there if he progresses the way that I think and hope he will.
Yeah. All right. So
shout out to Fanatical Teal Bleeder for putting what I said in inspirational quote form. I think we need what is that? What are those websites where you can make your own inspirational quote? We need that on the front of like some clouds or something.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna do that right now.
All right, everybody. So, like I said, 20 games left. When we talk again, we're gonna be catching you up on Jesus Christ. They don't play next Sunday, right?
No, they don't.
Okay, thank you.
No, next week is Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, so we're back to normal.
Okay, so we don't have another takeover until the 17th of April.
Yeah.
Thank God that Vegas game got bumped up.
Well, you know what, dude? I'm giving that April 17th game. I'm giving it the horse eye right now. Look at that puck drop, 3 Pacific.
Hey now.
It's gonna be, dude. We're gonna be done with the freaking sun up.
Love it, love it. So 20 games left. When we talk to you next time, it's going to be covering games against the Flames, Oilers, and Ducks. Look at that. The Flames, number one in their division, former coach of the Sharks behind their bench. That is going to be a good one. But remember, the Flames have yet to beat the Sharks this season for whatever reason. They're 0-2 against San Jose. Then you get the Oilers. We all know what happened the last time. It was a victory for Edmonton at San Jose and the return of Evander Kane. Yeah, whatever. What was that? It? No, that wasn't at San Jose, was it?
What game?
The first game that Edmonton with Kane on the team played San Jose.
Yeah, I was in San Jose. It was on Valentine's Day.
Oh, because it was one of those rescheduled ones. Yeah, okay, now okay, it's coming back to me now because I remember everybody was going to gauge how the booing went. So anyway, we know the Sharks lost that one. If I remember, it was like 3-0. They did not look good. And then Anaheim, who have straight just driven off the fucking cliff. Holy crap. Boy, man, you nailed it, dude, when you called them a fucking outlier. Dude, Troy Terry was scoring like a hat trick a game. That's just not. It's not sustainable, buddy.
No, and obviously it wasn't that.
And Zegras putting on from the top rope every night.
Yeah.
So where are things at with your Canucks? Are they still up? Still down 1-0? Well, what are you gonna do? Let's.
But you know what? It's the end of the first period. There's plenty of time to get back in. Plenty of time.
So Jerks Canucks, they're at 67 points right now, 5th in the Pacific, but 7 points out. Come on, man, get it together. Like, make it harder for Vegas. My Kings, we already talked about, second in the division, but 8 points away from Calgary. And like they're put together with Band-Aids and duct tape. It's going to be screwed for them. And of course, Edmonton coming up fast, dude. 2 points behind with 2 games in hand, and Edmonton is streaking right at the right time for them. What's up, buddy?
Oh man, I'm just saying. There's
Lausanne got a second-round pick.
No, he did not. Are you serious?
That's what we're seeing in the chat right now.
Baby,
can
Middleton,
you confirm?
pack your suitcase. Yeah, Pierre LeBrun, second rounder in 2020.
Oh, dude, Middleton. Pack it up, buddy.
Take Middleton to JCPenney and get him the biggest suitcase you can find. Shout out to JCPenney, by the way.
Dude, bury us a flea market. You can score a hell of a deal.
Okay, so Middleton is a better player than Jeremy Lauzon, and Lauzon goes for it. Lauzon, hold on. Lauzon, worse player than Middleton, at least this year.
All right.
Pending restricted free agent.
Oh, that's the thing, too. Middleton, he'll still be RFA, right?
He needs to play
20 more, like 19 games?
He needs to, let me see really quick.
18 or 19 games, I want to say.
He needs to play, I want to say it's like, at this point, I think it's 15 or 16.
Okay.
But point being, and let's see real quick on Jeremy Lauzon. Yeah, so Lauzon and Middleton are both going to be restricted free agents with arbitration rights. But Middleton is a better – Middleton this year, forget last year, forget next year. Middleton is a better player than Lauzon this year. And if Lauzon goes for a second –
pack yo bag.
Then maybe Doug Wilson is not as nuts as we all thought.
Well, I said it at the beginning. It was just kind of like, okay, you're saying it's a big ask or whatever. But there might be somebody who gets desperate enough that goes, yeah, you know what? We need it. This is what we need.
Dude, you know what's going to happen, man? Dude, Middleton is going to get traded at 11:58 tomorrow morning. And it's going to be for like a second round pick and like a fourth that becomes a second if the team wins the cup. It's going to be something totally ridiculous.
Oh, dude. Who's going to be on at that point? Like, is somebody going to be live at that point for us?
I think Puck Guy and Ryan talked about doing something, but I'm not sure.
Oh, man.
Hey, by the way, real quick shout out to Chester Chivo. He beat me to it. He tagged you. He tagged the Pucknologists account. I don't know if you have a way to jam it in there on the fly, but
no, unfortunately.
Well, then you'll have to go to Chester Chivo's Twitter to see it. The
inspirational quote.
Yes.
Love it. Dig it. So that will do it. Martin Jones has moved from a 900 to a 902. Means nothing. Ian's still keeping his hair, and it pisses me off. I was looking so forward to that. Oh, man. So you can follow him at hockey_jerk. You can follow me at AJ_strong. Remember to leave your take in the comment section of this YouTube video if you weren't able to join us live, and we will do our very best to get to those. If you have some stuff to cover, we'll get to that on our next show, which will be, tomorrow's going to be all like deadline shit. So it'll be the next one will be after Calgary on Tuesday. Boy, who do you think is who do you think's in the market for Middleton? Like, if you had to take, like, who's in the market for him? But who would be the most likely to at least come in on that same deal as Lauzon, whatever his fucking name is?
Ask Randy Hahn.
Lauzon.
So who would be in the market for Middleton? So here's the thing. The teams that were initially identified as being options, Toronto, they picked up Mark Giordano.
Yep.
Boston, they picked up Hampus Lindholm.
Let me ask you this, though. Were you a little surprised that Toronto got Giordano?
No, that was the only place he wanted to go.
Okay. I heard a lot of talk about like a return to Calgary, but
yeah, I don't know why he would want to go there.
Because they're top in the division, and like, you know.
But I mean, you look and you know, Tampa Bay was identified as an option for Middleton, but the thing is, they already have a Middleton-like player.
Well, I can still see them being a little chapped about the Goodrow deal.
Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, they won 2 cups.
Yeah, no, it all worked out for everybody.
But I think Tampa Bay doesn't make sense just from a salary cap perspective and from they already have a guy to play with Hedman perspective. I think, and then the fourth team that was identified was the St. Louis Blues. But St. Louis, I mean, if they were to acquire Jake Middleton, same thing. There would have to be some finagling where, somebody might have to go the other way. Maybe it's a situation where, maybe the Sharks take somebody back who can be on the team this year and next year, but I don't know. I still don't know how St. Louis is going to be able to make anything work. So of the four that were initially identified, I don't think any of them are on the table anymore. Of course, I could be wrong, but that's kind of my thought on the matter. As for, everybody left, maybe the Washington Capitals. I mean, actually, you know what? I'm going to say the Washington Capitals. All because you think about the type of player that John Carlson is, very similar to Erik Karlsson, not just because their name sounds the same. But
you don't think LA gets involved?
LA might get involved, but I think I don't think Middleton is a big enough swing for them.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I think you look like they've got. I mean,
I could picture San Jose too. But hey, remember what whiny bitches you guys were when we wanted Jones?
Right. No, I mean, if I could see Washington get involved. I could see Pittsburgh get involved, maybe. But
dude,
maybe Carolina.
Dude, Sharky is being an asshole on Twitter. He's asking reporter Chris to answer his phone because he might or might not have intel. And who was it? Was it Dan Rosen that got blown up by a troll, or not a troll, but fell for a fake account?
Oh, dude, it's happened to everybody.
Yeah. Oh, it happens to the best of them.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? Like, it's kind of hard to say because the four teams that were identified as being interested in Middleton, I personally don't see them as fits. Either at the time or right here, right now. If he is to get moved, my money, I'm still saying Washington. I'm still saying Pittsburgh, and then if you want maybe a dark horse candidate, maybe LA, maybe Vegas, maybe Calgary. But
I mean, if we've just seen the price point set to literally what the Sharks are asking.
Well, that's the thing. Lauzon is a worse player, and he went for a second. And that's the thing. Lauzon's not a bad player, just a worse player. And again, we're talking within the scope of this year, because last year, next year, doesn't matter. We're talking about this year.
Yeah.
This year, Middleton is better than Lauzon.
Oh man.
So we'll see what Joe Will does.
Who?
Joe Will. So I don't know.
I would I'm a little tired of some people who do pregame shows talking about how much they want to keep Middleton or whatever, and it's like, dude, if you can get solid value for that, of course like you were saying, dude, pack the bag. Good, it was good hanging with you. We got to go.
Well, and something else interesting to note as well. So Vancouver, wow. Seattle, my apologies. Seattle getting a second for Lauzon, that puts them at 4 second-round picks this year. Okay.
Oh my God.
Arizona Coyotes, who have 5 second-round picks this year, they're getting ready to trade one of those picks for Jack McBain, who's a college prospect. They're getting ready to trade one of those seconds, which means tomorrow morning Arizona is going to have 4 second-round picks as well. My question for you,
dude, that second round is going to
fly
by, dude.
My question for you is, at noon Pacific tomorrow, between Arizona and Seattle,
what's the over/under on picks?
Who is going to win? Who is going to win the second-round pick competition? Because I'm looking. I could see them get a second round. I could see Arizona get a second round pick for Phil Kessel. But then But then you flip over to Seattle. I could see Seattle get a second-round pick for, I don't know, maybe not any of their guys by themselves, but maybe if they throw them along with something else, maybe.
Dude, I'm here for
Something to think about.
Dude, I just want to watch the second round. just to hear. See how, with this pick, Seattle takes so-and-so.
Dude, oh my God. Okay, Seattle Kraken just got another draft pick.
Tell me it's in the second round, please.
Seattle trades Mason Appleton, who they claimed Mason Appleton from the Jets in the expansion draft. They traded him back to Winnipeg.
Oh, Jesus.
For a mid-round draft pick. So when we started the podcast,
dude, like a little over an hour ago or whatever, and there's been like 8 trades. Oh my God. No,
when we started the podcast, Seattle had 30 draft picks in the next 3 years, and then they trade Jeremy Lauzon, they get to 31. Now, as we're wrapping it up, they're trading Mason Appleton, and they're going to end the night with 32.
For the 32nd team.
At least 32. Who knows? I mean, they're not, like, evidently Seattle they're not playing around this year.
Dude, they're just going to own the fucking next 3 drafts. I want to be there when they say, and with the 44th pick, Seattle selects blah, blah, blah. Arizona, you're on the clock. Arizona with the 46th pick selects Seattle, you're on the clock. It just goes back and forth.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because just obviously things are gonna change as the regular season ends and as the playoffs happen and all that kind of stuff. But let's just say for argument's sake, let's say the draft was today based on the order right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they have Colorado's first round pick, which right now is 32nd overall. Yeah. Obviously, whoever wins the Stanley Cup is going to end up being 32nd overall. But for argument's sake, so Coyotes are picking at 32nd overall. Then you come over to the second round. The Coyotes are also picking 35, 36, 42, 43, and 48.
Oh my God, dude, that's great.
Dude, they have the Coyotes from pick 32 to pick 48, that's 16 picks. They have
like 5 of them.
6 of them. They have 6 of 16 picks in this stretch. And shout out to Corey as well. With the Lauzon deal, this doesn't even factor in the Mason Appleton deal that we're still waiting on. With the Lauzon deal, 20 of the first 67 draft picks are either the Kraken, the Coyotes, or the Canadiens. 20 of 67.
Dude, this draft is going to be amazing.
Dude, people were saying that the trade deadline is not going to have any excitement. I think, dude, Seattle is constantly making us look stupid. Like, if our run sheet was a physical piece of paper, there would be so much scratched out on it.
No doubt. Oh my God. Well, so yeah, we're evidently. So I'm sure somebody is going to be live streaming on our channel tomorrow. Remains. So. I don't know who that might be. I gotta work. I gotta sleep. I gotta work. I'm gonna try to give it the horse eye, but I'm sure someone will be jumping in here. Wasn't there somebody said they was it Ryan said he was like taking the day off tomorrow?
Yeah, I think he did.
Oh my God! And for him, like the trade deadline ends at like 7 a.m. or whatever.
Wow. Hey, speaking of second round picks, man. So Winnipeg Jets, they're looking to trade Andrew Copp, and it sounds like a team has already offered them 2 second round picks. So there's when the smoke clears,
yeah.
I want to see how many second round picks this year are not owned by the original team.
Dude, who's the Pacquiao shit guy?
Oh, Mike Commodore.
Mike, oh man, where's that fucking guy when you need him?
Probably I'm not going to get into it.
Poll result. Last time I looked at the poll results, it was pretty much like everybody was like it all depended on the return, which makes sense. It's fine.
Well, I feel like that goes without saying.
Yeah. Right? Then why are you saying it?
I try to think, but nothing happens.
Oh man, I mean, I can take hopefully I can take a quick peek if it's still listed. It may in fact not be, but yep. Let me end the poll. Oh no, you know what? Should the Sharks have traded Hertl? God, I need to learn how to spell. It's been a long day, people. 19% say yes, 47% saying no, and 35% saying depends upon the return. So it sounds like more people wanted to keep him than get rid of him. So there we go.
Which, to be expected.
To be. So, hey, remember to listen to Hockey Jerk's last words right here. Famous last words.
Yeah, we wrapped up the podcast
like a half hour ago.
Yeah, man.
And we've just been going, stop making trades for 5 fucking seconds.
Final thoughts. I think Barabanov is not going anywhere. I think...
Now, before we started the show tonight, did you think Middleton was going anywhere? Because I did not.
No.
And now?
Here we're gonna play.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we have to do it again.
Here's the thing, and we're gonna use, we're gonna play the semantics game here.
Yeah. Oh, can I also tell you that JT Miller has scored, but Vancouver is still down by 1.
Dude, everything that guy touches is going in.
No. Oh, don't put it on a T for me.
So Barabanov, I say, won't be traded.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Middleton might be traded.
All right.
James Reimer could be traded. Those are my, what would those be? Would those be adverbs? Would those be adverbs? I don't know. Kevin, help me out. You know that. Those are my words to describe each situation.
Get your adverbs here.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I went to 4th grade language arts.
I know. So, and our buddy Gen X trolling saying he wants Eberle to the Avalanche.
There you go.
See, all sorts of fun things happening. So anyway, yeah, between now and noon tomorrow, so essentially for a little less the next, or I should say about 15 hours, 45 minutes. Whew, it's going to get fun. And remember, there's always those deals that come in that, that, what is it? They get faxed in and like a couple things have to be worked out, but they'll end up dropping at about like 1:45 or some shit.
Yeah, they, as long as the trade is filed before noon, it can still be announced after noon, as long as it's filed before noon.
Oh, man, dude.
And that always happens. There's always...
Somebody better hack the Kraken's fax machine.
Well, that's like, and I'll give you a prime example. So last year, so the deadline is at noon, as we've talked about. 2 years ago, the first tweet came out, Barclay Goodrow to the Lightning. Or no, it wasn't even Barclay Goodrow at first. It was literally at, I want to say 11:59, or it might have been right at 12. Sharks have found a way to acquire a first-round pick. That was all that was out there, and it was right at 12. So it was like, tell me more. Don't leave. We need to know.
Oh, yeah, okay, I remember that. Yeah. So you son of a bitch.
Yeah, it came out right at 12, and it was like, well, don't, tell us,
Again, yeah, the tickle your ass with a feather shit. Ugh.
But and I think so. You look at the, whatever your desire is, TSN, Sportsnet, Daily Faceoff, Fourth Period, they all got a trade bait board. And, we're seeing players tick off the trade bait board, the last 3-4 days. There's still going to be a handful of guys who are on there that do get moved. But point being, it seems like the last couple of years, last year, Anthony Mantha and Jacob Verana got flipped for each other. And 2 years ago, Barclay Goodrow in that conversation as well. The last couple of years, we've seen a player not even in the top 60 on the trade bait board that gets moved. I'm curious to know if something like that is going to happen tomorrow. Not even with the Sharks, just in general.
Oh, man. All right. So tomorrow, trade deadline. It's like Christmas morning for most people that are into.
Yeah,
hockey.
I'm gonna have the stream up on my phone at work. I'll tell you what.
Oh, man. All right. So Remember to subscribe to our channel if you would, please. That helps us out. You can follow us on all the various social media if you like to. I'm sure Hockey Jerk, at @hockey_jerk, is going to be buzzing tomorrow on the tweet machine.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I can't wait. I cannot wait. You might want to hit notifications for Jerk's account. I'm just saying. Like, just do it now before you go to bed. So remember to subscribe to us on the channels and throw us a little something with the Apple Podcast, Spotify, SoundCloud, whatever. If they got like 5 stars or something that you could give us a little review, we'd obviously appreciate that. Helps increase the viewership of the channel. You can find everything at tealtownusa.com. And remember, After Dark goes live after every single Sharks game, unless it's on a fucking Sunday at 7 o'clock. Then we're here. Oh, man. Can you tell I'm a little tired of the takeovers?
I can tell.
Feel
well, the fact, you know what's even more hilarious about the fact, so you say you're tired of the takeovers. I'm tired of the takeovers. And yet here we are. We
rolling on 2 hours.
Yeah, we started 25 minutes before our normal time, and we're still finishing at normal time. So
you're right. Although to be fair, there's a lot
to talk about.
Yeah, there was. Well, but also a lot of. If we didn't see all those deals popping up on Twitter, we would have been out of here 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, 4th round pick in 2023 to the Kraken for Mason Appleton to Winnipeg. So, not a second, but also not surprised.
All right. So, find it all on tealtownusa.com. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Remember, if you weren't able to join us live, leave your comments down below. We'll hit you up on the next podcast. And that's it. Good night, everyone. We hope you had a great weekend and you have an awesome week, and that tomorrow is just, at the very least, incredibly entertaining. That's what we all hope for. We'll see you for episode 157 next Sunday. Good night, everybody.